Murray doesn't practice tomorrow, that would be a sign that they can't count on him to play Monday night. As for Kyler Murray, didn't practice today due to a foot injury suffered at the end of the game against the Titans. He did come back into play, so that is notable. And Jonathan Gannon, the Cardinals coach, said today that Murray is day-to-day. We'll see whether he can make it back onto the practice field Thursday. But no practice again today for the Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who missed the game last week with that hamstring injury, and the Ravens have a bye after this week's game against the Rams. The fact that there was no sign of Jackson at practice today, not an encouraging sign, and it looks like it'll be another week of Cooper Rush in a week in which there will be more Ravens missing, but there was some positive, encouraging news today. Kyle Hamilton and Ronnie Stanley both returned to practice today, offering some hope and encouragement that those two key players could be back for Sunday's game before the bye against the Rams.
Just a rash of injury for those Ravens. More from Adam throughout the show. And as you heard Adam say, Field, no practice for Lamar. They do get a bit of help, hopefully, with Kyle Hamilton, Ronnie Stanley back. Any hope for the Ravens against the Rams this weekend?
Very concerned. This Rams team, which, by the way, lost in very disappointing fashion last Thursday night, is going to come to Baltimore extremely disappointed after their defeat against the 49ers. I'm concerned because the offense had really no answers last week. Of course, the defense had zero answers. I thought that maybe last week the way that the Texans would approach the Ravens offense is we're going to stack the box and make Cooper Rush beat us with his arm. Believe it or not, they actually saw the Ravens did a lower percentage of stacked box runs for Derrick Henry than in the 5 or 4 weeks leading up to the first full game without Lamar Jackson. Like, they basically just said, you're just not good enough right now, even with Derrick Henry running the football between the tackles, that we're really threatened by you. If you're looking for a confidence builder right now, Dan, it's your offense faces the Ravens defense or your defense faces the Ravens offense. Obviously, the Texans are a great defense. They're number 1 in points per game allowed so far this year. But because of the injury attrition, I just don't see it against this Rams team this weekend.
Yeah, I see the Rams very much so winning this game. They're going to be able to run the football. We know this run defense struggles.
Bad.
This defense cannot get to the quarterback. You give Stafford time with this passing group and pass concepts designed, they'll be just fine. I'll say this about the Ravens. Just get to the bye week. I can make the claim that the bye week is more important than the game.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because you're sitting there 1-5. But get to the bye week, see how healthy you can get. Obviously, Lamar leading that way. And then figure out if you can realistically make a run. If you can find a way to win this game, that's absolutely sensational. But coming off of how you looked last week, it's really hard for me to try to think of a way. They got to get to the bye week.
The division they play in helps right now because they have 2 games against Pittsburgh coming up, so they can potentially cover some ground.
But they got to start playing good football.
For sure.
You know, we can sit here and talk about injuries all we want. There's a lot of teams that are dealing with injuries. You have to start playing good football. You have to be fundamentally sound. You have to be in the places you're supposed to be on defense, whether you're a starter or a backup. You got to be able to maintain a block on the offensive side and complete passes on a consistent. Until Baltimore starts playing good football, we're not going to take them seriously when it comes to the playoff conversation.
As far as we know, Derrick Henry is still healthy, and Derrick Henry was held to under 50 rush yards in 4 straight starts. That's his longest career streak. Feels like they got to find a way to get him the ball more, get him more success. He gets better as the game goes on, too. All right, new on NFL Live. We're going to go here next as the Lions and Chiefs face off on Sunday night. That's going to be a great matchup. Here's Patrick Mahomes and Dan Campbell today on the game.
It's extremely important. I mean, there's no way around it. This is a really good football team that we're going to play. They play extremely hard, and they have a mentality. They're going to come in and win a football game, and so we have to match that intensity. We have to match that mentality, and then knowing that it's going to take our best football.
You got to do a number of things with him. You know, first of all, he can smell a rat from a mile away. So if you're going to disguise, boy, it better be worthy of a Grammy. Because this guy sees it all and he smells immediately. He can alter the protections. He can get to different things in the pass game. But you got to be careful that you don't want to become something you're not either.
I'm imagining Patrick Mahomes like sniffing the air, like, I smell that defense. Okay, we know the Lions are an elite offensive team, leading the league in scoring and 5th in efficiency, but they're also a top-notch defensive team, ranking 2nd in defensive efficiency behind only the Vikings. Last year, only one team ranked top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, and it was the Super Bowl champion Eagles. Pretty cool to see them get to full strength, getting Aiden Hutchinson back this year. Dan, what stood out to you about the Lions defense so far this season?
Old school principles in a new era. They play defense in a way that not many teams in the NFL do. Number one, they are violent at the line of scrimmage, and they believe in rerouting. They're playing man coverage across the board, immediate reroute at the line of scrimmage. We don't see that from corners a lot. And then when they're playing man, they're often playing it together. Shallow cross from the slot, that safety cuts, that backside safety is looking to replace if necessary. That should be an 8 to 10 yard completion, it's 4 yards. Okay, then Hutch by himself. We have the overload away. T. Higgins and Jamar up top, they're gonna go one, reroute. Again, teams don't do that much. 2-man up top, and they're gonna put that single corner by himself. Now it's 3rd and 15. They're funneling everything inside. We'll give up you an 8 or 9 yard completion to force a field goal. I love that. Here's that man-to-man again. Empty set. Kansas City's going to present this. Are we going to get a reroute at the line of scrimmage? Jam, 100% we are. That throws off the timing of the pass game. Just watch how the safeties play that vision, though. This isn't man-to-man, you by yourself. It's man-to-man with always help. There's always somebody there that is playing off of the leverage. And I will ask you this. Find me a linebacker playing better than Alex Anzalone. Here's the deep cross. What's the corner do? Hey, safety, here it comes. Here it comes. Safety gets to cut the crosser. Corner up top replaces. Everybody has vision underneath. Anzalone just waiting there because he knows that ball has to get thrown off of that concept. Bang, pick. Anzalone's playing backer as good as anybody in football. Wow. And I think that there is a defensively an epidemic in the NFL that we just don't reroute pass game receivers anymore. That defense does.
Alex Anzalone? Gator, by
Gator. Go Gators.
I'll be interested to see if they have the same approach this upcoming weekend because the injuries have really hit this Lions team. 3 of their top 4 corners, at least coming into the season, like when training camp began, are not going to be available on Sunday night, with the latest addition being Terrion Arnold, their second-year corner, who Terrion is going to continue to grow into a player who understands there's a fine line between aggressive and having too many flags thrown your way. That being said, at some point when the depth piles up, or at least I should say the depth goes the other way, when your depth becomes an issue, you can't always do things exactly how you want to do so. The best way, though, to cover up for a secondary that's depleted is to rush the passer well. This past Monday night, the Chiefs didn't win the game, but they protected Patrick Mahomes at a very high level. He was not sacked once by a Jaguars defense that had been very aggressive all season, had done a good job of piling up those sacks. And of course, as Dan Campbell alluded to, Patrick is not going to be fooled by much. So if you are going to bring pressure, you try to account for the fact that you are thin in the secondary. As Dan Campbell also said, it better be the ultimate disguise because there are very few things at this juncture of Patrick's career that totally catch him off guard. Didn't seem like the Jaguars were able to catch him off guard much on Monday night. 318 passing yards is best of any game this season.
Yeah, I think the question is Detroit going to do that same stuff? Is the fair one to ask.
Right. You know, we saw it last year in the playoff game against Washington. Even when they were getting carved up, they did not stop. Kelvin Shepard has some Aaron Glenn. Yeah.
Still got
Maybe
those
they got it.
safeties. I don't think they're gonna. Rock Ya-Sin's still there. He's played a lot of football in this league. You can trust his veteran experience. Those safeties make up for a lot. Those safeties are special players.
By the way, Patrick Mahomes 0-2 in his career versus Jared Goff, but he has thrown for 704 yards and 8 touchdowns in those 2 games. So it hadn't necessarily been his fault. All right, we're just getting started on NFL Live. Glad you're with us on this Wednesday. From a rough start to a commanding finish, Jaden Daniels led Washington to a win over the Chargers. Dan, going to the touchscreen to show you how it all happened. You do not want to miss this. Just excellent stuff. Plus, the Cowboys rolled to victory last week, and a handful of difference makers led the charge. Stick around to find out why Field thinks they're stepping up their game in the absence of CeeDee Lamb. Little shout out here to Jerry Jones in some ways.
Jerry.
Yes.
You go out on game day and you just let it rip, man. You just let it go, and I think that's how you handle the ups and downs, of this game. And I mean, I was tired. The players were tired after Sunday. The emotions of it, up and the downs, and it's like a game where you feel like we had the game in hand most of the time, but like there's constantly things going on, and I think really, trying to get these guys to understand to play free and relax is the best way to go out there and be the best version of yourself.
This reminds me of our philosophy for NFL Live. We just let it rip. We ride the highs, the lows.
Yeah.
There's not many lows. All right, time now for Insight versus Impact.